Hey, that's a lot better than last week. I was listening to the recording from last week, Kel. And yeah, I'm glad I tried it over. This is G-Man. That music means it's time for What's the Matter podcast episode 42. Kel, can you believe it?
It's 42.
42. And we're not
That's
talking
a significant
about
number.
42 degrees because it is beautiful here.
It's almost too... I'm not ready for this kind of heat yet.
I am. I got shorts on.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I haven't switched my wardrobes over yet.
I was like...
I'd have to get into my other closet.
Well, I wore shorts last time we got together, but it wasn't like
No,
this.
it wasn't. No. This is odd.
Yeah.
Like, this is out of the ordinary.
A buddy of mine pointed out that it's actually technically still winter, you know. So speaking of the buddy of mine, we have Mr. Ricky Harold in the audience today. Woohoo! Ricky is the host of Military Matters podcast show, and of course his radio program has been going for over 10 years or something like that. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. And you're right. You know, by the way, I've lived here for 12 years, and this is by far the warmest winter we've ever had.
No question.
86 degrees today, and it's still winter until Friday. So that tells me that we're going to have a long, hot summer.
I hope not. I hope this is just a fluke.
What do you mean? Haven't you heard of global warming?
Yeah, and I'm not believing that either. Global warming, no. Climate change, yes. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
we don't want to go there.
Climate change is
atmospheric climate change. We can affect that. Yes.
Well, not
global cycles. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, here's the only thing that actually affects global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it. It's called the sun. All right, that's number one.
Right.
And the only thing on this planet that does make a precipitous difference to climate is a volcanic eruption.
Yeah.
Those
There
are
you
the
go.
only two things on this planet that will make climate change.
I love it. I love it.
Permanent alterations.
Now, as you guys that listen to the show already know, sometimes you never know where it's going to go. But one thing that we do not do, Mr. Ricky Harold, who's here for the first time, we don't talk about politics or religion on the What's the Matter podcast show. If we do start getting into that, we immediately, we have this off-ramp that we just go.
It's called the big detour.
Yeah, it's a big detour. So
Sometimes, some of the topics will
bleed.
They're adjacent, but we don't go into the topic.
Yeah, absolutely. We recognize it just as we did right there. We are out of here. So episode 42. Today's episode is, as we teased last week, what's the matter with fools? Okay, so when confidence becomes, hey,
Wait a minute.
mute, is that you or me?
I think that's you.
Gosh dang it, I hate it when that happens.
Are you talking about fools rushing in here?
So what's the matter with fools when confidence becomes clueless? And so today, what we're going to be doing is we're roasting behavior, not particular people,
Yeah.
right? So today's about kind of spotting foolishness, especially our own, before it costs us. So first and foremost, well, not first today, we're about 4 minutes in, but let's give them a shout out real quick. World Matters Incorporated, otherwise known as the DBA of America Matters Media, and of course the creator and producer of the show Big Bongo Productions. And we also give a shout out if you are in the area, the Reno Tahoe area, and you have your little radio dial, 93.7 FM. They have got a great family of shows that you guys check out, and you will be happy that you did. Okay, so I missed you last week. I'm sorry on the exit.
Right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Do it.
I've got it's a dear friend of the station, one of our veterans.
Yeah.
And through the comedy circuit, Brian Woods.
Oh,
he is now a certified hypnotherapist and has an office on Plum Lane.
wait.
It's Northern Nevada Hypnotherapy, and he's going to give me a free session on this massage frequency bed he has that I can't wait to try out.
What does he do?
He's a hypnotherapist, a certified hypnotherapist.
God, talk to me about that real quick. Let's give him more than a plug.
Yeah, it's Northern Nevada Hypnotherapy, and he has had a very interesting trajectory. He served for us in Desert Storm.
Okay,
and
you like that, right, Ricky?
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yep. And so he, like I said, he was on our comedy circuit doing stand up. He has a day job that he is working on transitioning his way out of as he builds his business. And I can't wait to try this thing. It's called a I forget. I looked into getting one for myself.
You were
even.
close to saying vibrator.
No, Vibra Bed or Vibra Tone or something. It's
saying.
something like that. No, I wasn't going to say vibrator.
There's different
the bed vibrates.
hypnotherapies, right?
Yeah.
Like some hypnotherapies could be with a vibrator.
Could.
Yeah.
You can
know.
hypnotize people.
But yeah,
That's a vibration therapy.
do you have a website or anything? Contact information?
He is on Facebook. I don't know that he has a website up yet.
Okay.
But, Brian Woods.
Brian Woods. No
is
therapy. You know?
Yeah.
So I have that
can't
sound
wait.
effect right there.
Not the
Remember
Twilight Zone, is it?
Yeah, it's hypnotherapy. All right, Brian, hey, we hope that we can help you in any way that you can. Kel, good job there. Okay, moving on. We are talking about fools today. And so check this out. What is a fool really? Okay, so I have this in my notes, Kel, that everybody has moments of brilliance and moments of foolery. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the moment that confidence becomes clueless, right? Johari's window, or little blind spots.
You know, when you get my age, it's called a senior moment.
That's right. You know, and that's
Let you off the hook now.
that's inadvertent, right? Yeah, you know,
It's not
sometimes-
intentional. It's
No,
just you get a big blank.
because if it is intentional, then it becomes sadistic, which is even more fun.
Or masochistic, whichever you look at it.
Well, sometimes that's a subjective definition. That's, again, another episode. But what we want to do today is talk about, first of all, in this first segment, Kel, I hope you like this. But when we're talking about stuff, don't you like checking into the origins?
Absolutely, I do.
Oh, that's
Big
what I
time.
thought.
You know I'm a big
Okay,
root causer.
so the word fool. Okay, the word fool. Where do you think it came from first?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Which like
what
culture?
era?
Yeah, culture, dialect. What's the earliest trace to the word fool?
I am going to guess Nordic. Like Swedish,
Wait.
Old Norse.
God, I think I loaded one of those sound effects too. Hold on. I have so many now, it's hard to keep track.
I would have said Persian or Middle Eastern myself.
See, you know, that's a good job, Ricky. I got to involve our guests a little bit
Yeah.
more. Man, I thought I had a buzzer. Buzzer that says you're wrong.
How about this?
Yeah. So the original comes from Latin. It depends on what you're comparing, right? That's a long time ago.
Ancient
That's
Egypt.
Like, well, I know, but like
shaman.
we could go back to the but the caveman was sound.
I thought that was Bigfoot.
So Latin, right? So the original word was Folis, spelled F-O-L-L-I-S.
Yeah, like folly.
And you know what it meant?
Mistake.
Nope. It meant that a person, well, actually not necessarily a person, but Folis actually meant bellows or a bag of wind.
That totally makes sense.
Right? Once they applied it to humans, okay, Folis in Latin, just like he's Folis. I don't know what that accent's all about.
I don't either.
But it was the idea
Do it
of
with a
being,
little-
that's later. So the idea of being full of hot air.
Interesting.
Folis, original Latin. Like he's full of hot air. He or she is full of hot air.
How
Well,
Now
isn't that
then-
what we do on the radio?
Yes.
We're all full of
Kinda.
hot air. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So then it kind of time went on, and then the French, the Francois, they took Folis and they said, "We need to cut this down." Is that better?
Well, you talk about root cause and root words, and I'll give you a perfect word that everybody has, that we think we have an understanding for. It's called pagan.
Right. Absolutely.
And
that
that comes
gets
from-
thrown around
Yeah.
so negatively.
That comes from the Latin word pagonus, and you know what that means in the generic terminology in old English? It means country bumpkin.
Interesting.
I thought it was-
They were like the
but-
country
but-
native folk.
Because they weren't city folk.
They worship nature.
And they lived in the country, so they weren't very educated. So the word pagonus meant that you were outside the city, so you weren't an educated person.
Like white
That's where-
trash.
Yeah.
Or trailer trash.
Trailer trash.
Yeah.
Basically, in our vernacular, we probably, but that's where the word came from. And so now we have a completely different meaning for
Christians
it,
throw it as if it means demonic. Oh, that's pagan.
or you're a
Oh, that
non-believer.
worships,
Yeah, they
that
don't-
worships nature.
They-
Which Witches were
all of
primarily
us
pagan.
are ignorant about some things. And that's a bad word to most people because they don't have a good self-esteem. But it's just like, oh, what am I ignorant? Like,
is
teach
one,
me.
what do I not know?
Yeah, teach
rather
me.
than ignoramus.
Now, if you're calling me stupid, I'm going to hit you in your nose.
Yeah, that's ignoramus.
Yeah. I like
I can think better places to hit you.
But so now check this out. So back to the French, they took Foolelis, F-O-W or double L-I-S, and they chopped it in half and just went with Fole, F-O-L, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so once they did that, they said, okay, no, this means now we're taking it, we're stealing from the Latin, the bag of air, bag of hot air, and now we're going to create this thing that says this is a madman. This guy's an idiot, a rogue, a jester, right? So see that little nuanced chain, he's not kind of the bag of wind is saying he's full of shit, but the fool, okay, kind of expanded into not just somebody that's just like full of jive. He's somebody that
we have in the military, we have a terminology called the person's got diarrhea of the mouth. So
yes, exactly.
and they can't stop talking.
A bag
They
of
just
wind.
like to hear themselves talk.
So what we want to do today, you guys, is as we do, Kel, is define what are we talking about? So the full spectrum, pun intended, right? The full spectrum. One bullet point is that you're going to have a goofy fool. I'd like to think that sometimes I fit that bill. I can be a goofy fool. Kel's been around me enough.
Well, most people who are on television or in politics, they all meet that criteria.
What are you saying, Ricky?
I think I'm pretty explicit.
I'm not in politics. Okay, now another fool bullet point here is a clueless fool, right? So you got the goofy, harmless fun. I definitely fit that bill. I like to have fun. Harmless fun. If I say something that may be off-colored or something like that, or you may take as an insult, man, I'm just, again, third grade, before school starts, bad time.
Elementary humor. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. That's me. Clueless fool. Now, what this means is they don't know that they don't know. They're just clueless. And so that's kind of like what we want to kind of in a roundabout way hit on today. Because we want to help people recognize when they're being a fool. Mm-hmm. If you know you're going to be a fool beforehand, you know what you're doing, right? But we don't want somebody to cluelessly
That's
be
a trickster. A fool who knows what they're going to do ahead of time is a trickster.
Yes, and I think I have that covered here too. Later on down. It's not right in these bullets. Now, the
That's
next
an intentional.
one, I have 6 of these, right? So, yes, a stubborn fool, okay, is somebody that won't learn no matter what. They've got their feet in the ground. They're not going to change their position. To your point, I think...
But that's where ignorance is bliss, right?
Yes. And I think to Kel's point, the dangerous one is what's called the confident fool, right? And then a performative fool, comedians. We had some comedians in.
That's
these
the
are
court jester.
Sometimes I try to think, because I used to be the lead vocalist for a band, but I really wasn't I didn't like attention seeking.
Right.
Right. I tried to stay in my lane, especially because I didn't start until I was like 43 years old or something like that, outside of some
Yeah, but
stuff.
there's some people that actually use stupid sayings and absurd sayings so that they can get clicks on the radio. They can get clicks on television. I mean, it's intentional.
Well,
Exploitive.
That's
They're
so
exploiting
it. Yeah.
You're exactly right. So it's a performative fool. Now the last one here, okay, is a weaponized fool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is somebody that uses ignorance as a shield. I didn't know.
Plays dumb.
Yeah, it plays dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are kind of like the little schematics, that we're talking about today. And then, so first question, like you guys one at a time, with everything that we've kind of laid out. Oop, rookie mistake there. Everything that we've laid out, what's your first kind of thoughts go towards? Has everything that I've spun kind of remind you of anybody or situation? Or what's your take on what we're talking about today?
Yeah, but you don't want to use any names, you said, right?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, it is.
Well, it's pretty easy when it comes to politicians. I mean, I can just pick, and it doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter what persuasion you're talking about.
When we talk about politicians, we make fun of them. So
That's
if you're
true.
gonna make
Because else can you do with
It's-
politicians
yeah.
but make fun of them?
That's the only time that we'll talk about it. So you got something to make fun of?
Well, Jazzy Crockett's a perfect example. I mean, you know, now you talk about age and how I'm really bad at it.
Right?
I really thought that this woman, who's a congresswoman from Dallas, Texas.
So you're
I
saying
assume
you're asserting
Jasmine Crockett.
You're asserting that this
Anyway,
is a fool.
What district is she in?
Right.
Did she take
Like-
over for the lady?
No, kicked
No,
out. She
no.
got kicked out
Yeah, she just lost her primary. But
because of
that's not,
redistricting.
Oh.
that was my point. My point was that I thought she was in her mid 30s. Turns out she's 44 years old.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but then they showed pictures of her like 5 years ago, and she looked like a normal African American woman who's in politics. And now she's like this made up like sequin doll kind of thing. And what all she cares about is making outlandish statements that everybody knows is total BS, and everybody knows it's not true. But that's how she gets clicks, and that's how she gets her name in the media, because she says absolutely dumb stuff. And AOC is no different. She's exactly the same way. And if you went back and looked at their educational levels, you know, Crockett actually has a real educational
Oh
background.
no, her high school cost
I'm
almost
35
positive she
grand.
did.
35 grand a year for
Well,
high
first of all-
school. For high school,
Right.
35 grand a year.
She says
that's
she's,
where she
she's
started.
a woman from the ghetto, or
Clown.
she's had a silver spoon her whole life, and she's went to private schools and everything. And she's well educated. Not that she's, you know, you can be well educated and be a stupid person, but
This is her. That's her right there.
She had a member of her security team killed?
oh yeah,
just recently. She didn't
Yes.
have.
he was
she
a,
didn't
Well, not insurance.
killed. That's Hillary Clinton's job to do stuff like that.
yeah, but I've met that woman, and she's scarier than all get out.
Who, Hillary?
And I met her when she was the first lady of Arkansas, the governor's.
When she was still playing the game.
Oh my God, she didn't even take his name at the time. She was Hillary Rodham.
I remember.
She did not go by his, only after he lost his election that she took his last name, and it was Hillary Rodham
Clinton.
It wasn't just Clinton. Regardless, what I was going to say about AOC, because you got me going on this, got a little juice going here. AOC.
Right, Ricky, find this.
Her
Find the
education-
off ramp here, Ricky.
Her education level is,
She has the pieces of paper.
Oh,
How
yeah.
she got them is in question.
well,
Well, it's money.
Well,
she was born with money. That's she wants to act
she
like
grew
she's
up-
from the ghetto.
She
and
was
she's
born.
the
She
ghetto.
was born in the Bronx, and she
Oh.
immediately went to Westchester County. I mean, she's never been without money and without prestige and without standing in her whole life. But she acts like she's a woman of the people, and she says that she's a Latino woman.
What?
And she can't speak one word of Spanish.
And
Crockett says she's Latino.
Yeah. No.
No.
JOC.
AOC.
We're talking about AOC now.
Oh my!
We've been talking about
gosh.
AOC. And
I missed
she, like her work experience, but before she got into Congress, was bartender.
And she
I
was
know.
a part-time bartender.
Yeah.
Part-time bartender.
Yeah.
So the only way she got in was because of her campaign, her corrupt campaign manager, who ended up getting fired in a scandal.
Oh, no, he's actually gone to prison.
Did he go to prison? Okay, I didn't follow it after that. Okay, good, that's good. But yeah, the only reason.
What kind of a fool? What?
Which one, AOC?
Yeah.
Oh, she's off the charts stupid. I mean,
Yeah,
she really is.
She doesn't
She-
have
Two
together.
compound
She
sentences.
says
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
she's
so
just a mouthpiece.
So she's a clueless fool.
yes.
She doesn't know that she doesn't know.
Oh no, I don't. Well, I don't think. I think she thinks she's competent.
Agree
She
with that.
believes in herself, and her ego is very strong.
She's a confident fool. That's the most dangerous one.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's a confident fool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can say that. She's been,
Hey,
but she's also a clueless fool.
what is she clueless about?
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Like how life really works.
Well, she doesn't know how like
She doesn't-
world politics. She just
Well,
she says what she's told.
but the worst part about her is that she's never put 10 minutes of her time into
the job.
history
Into the
at
job,
all.
yeah.
And if you told her there was a civil war in this country, she would, and somebody asked her who fought in the Civil War, she'd say the French and the English.
Right.
So this is what happens.
No, I'm not kidding. She
I
would.
agree.
This is what happens when we have a guest on the show who always talks about politics.
That's his job.
Yeah, it's his job. We are going to. We're going to take. Well, okay, so like But
not
again, I
arguing the
like
issues.
making fun of them. That we got to. That was more critique. So let's again stay away.
But
from
it meets
that,
the
please.
definition.
So we got to get back to fools, right? So we've identified, which kind of fool, this one is right here. So let me ask you guys this: in your life, when was the time when you can look back and say, "I was an absolute fool"? And also, without mentioning names, when was an instance when you observed somebody being a fool that makes you remember them more than anybody else? Okay. Well, Ricky's sitting on this. Kel, you go first. When was the time
goodness.
where you felt the most like a fool?
So many times. Pick one.
Number one, what's the Academy Award of Kel's foolishness?
Getting involved with a narcissist, moving him halfway across the
That's
country.
too deep, though. I want more fun. I want something I can roast.
When I was little, we used to go camp. My father wouldn't fly, but we had a travel trailer, and in the summer, we would do what was called seasonal camping. You could take it to the campground and leave it there for the whole summer and just go up on
I
weekends.
remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah,
That sounds like cool. That sounds cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was an hour and a half away in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, in Amish country, where we would park the trailer and go up on the
Lancaster
weekends.
County.
Lancaster County, yep. And we'd go to the Green Dragon Market and all that. Oh, God, we loved that. So at the campground, they would always have stuff going on, like pool tournaments and
Ping pong. Yeah.
and pinball. And they had dance parties. And they had a dance party, and I'm like 8 years old, and they played. When did maybe I was a little bit older. When did the Blues Brothers come out?
1978.
I was
Say,
10.
yeah,
I was
say
10.
maybe right around
Okay, I was 10
80.
then.
Yeah. Soul
They
Man.
played not so the what was not Soul Man. What was the other one? Hey mama, hey mama, hey mama.
Yeah.
That one.
And,
Yeah. When you played that at a dance, and they did this in high school too, you'd run out on the floor, get down on your back, and like wiggle.
The dead book.
Is that what that's called? The dead?
Yeah.
I never knew. but it was only for part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got up. Yeah.
I didn't know that, and nobody taught me that. And I just saw a bunch of kids running to the floor, getting down on their backs and doing this thing. So I followed, and I didn't get up.
Oh.
I kept doing it, and then realized I was the only one out on the floor doing this. And there's like a room full of people staring at me, and I was like,
well, yeah. I mean, and then it's
I
good
felt so stupid.
It's a good thing. Like they probably.
I'm getting,
at
like,
that
feel-
point, you had a reputation because like you were drinking when you were 6 years old or something like
Not
that.
publicly, not public. 3 actually, but
Now,
not
what
public.
about Kel? What about somebody
I beat
else?
you.
What's the one
6 months.
person?
I talked at 6 months. I didn't walk till I was 1.
What's the one
Beer in my bottle.
one instance when somebody else was being a fool?
Oh, geez.
Like at this point in life, I know you're having to tap into a bunch of different instances, but
My dad could be kind of foolish
like in a goofy way.
in a goofy way.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
goofy fool.
Yeah.
Harmless fun.
Yep.
Okay.
He liked attention, but he didn't like trolling for it. You know what I mean? Like he didn't purposely like go, "Hey, look at me, look at me."
Let's,
No,
like,
he didn't
boom.
do stuff like that. But he loved attention. Like he liked earning attention. So he would like dump shit in the like a turd in the punch bowl. Like he would like
A
everybody.
real one
not
or
literally.
Baby Ruth?
No, like people would be talking about
Uh-huh.
something, and he would just like lob some grenade into the conversation,
I got you.
that kind
I
of
got
thing.
you.
And like he would say stupid things, like he would be completely off topic, say something completely unrelated, or try and try and mansplain something that was completely wrong,
Right.
and he would look foolish. And my
Yeah.
mother,
Rolls her eyes.
hated him. So that was just more ammo for her.
Oh boy.
And then later she'd pull me aside and go, "Can you believe your father said this?" And
All right, Ricky, you're up. What's the most foolish thing that you can remember you've done in your lifetime?
Well, this one's probably not. It's very foolish, and it's very embarrassing. And it's when I was in the military on active duty in Europe. Believe it or not, it was during the Iran crisis when we had all of
the
the
other ones.
Yeah, in 19,
hostages.
this was when they did tried to do the hostage rescue with
Oh.
the military. going in, and then they had the situation. Anyway, I was a senior wing commanding officer for briefings for the staff, and I had been incommunicado. I was not up to speed on what was going on because it was over the weekend.
Yeah.
And then I was thrown in, and I didn't even have time to read so I had to wing it, right? And I got it wrong
That's not good.
in front of full colonels and everything else. And
Oh, no.
I was a young captain. It was not a
That
good.
hurt.
It was very, very foolish and very embarrassing. So I'll never forget that. And I swore I'd never do
You
something.
never do it again. That's it. Like
Yeah.
it really, that kind of thing really changes you.
Oh,
Well, you
yeah.
didn't- and then
It
you,
makes you so hyper vigilant for that kind of thing.
and you didn't know it at the time, but after the meeting, all the colonels got together and said, "This guy doesn't go past major." Do you hear me?
and they were successful.
All right. Now, what about somebody else, Ricky? Like what comes to mind with somebody else being an absolute fool that you'll never forget about?
Well, this is with my middle daughter. And
Your daughter.
and we had, first time I'd ever taken them to Walt Disney World, so this was their first experience. And I bought them all of these balloons with Mickey in it, and these are really nice. And they were
The
expensive.
double ones, the 3D, and then the
Yeah, yeah.
I love those.
And they were expensive, right? And so I tied them to their hands so that they wouldn't lose them, right? And then we were trying to get into the car, and my middle daughter said, "I can't get in the car because of the balloon." So I said, "But if you take it off, you have to be very careful." As soon as he took it off, it just flew away. And she's bawling in tears. I felt bad about it, but I said, "It's because you were foolish and you didn't do what I told you that was going to happen." And she didn't think about it until it was too late.
Life lesson.
Yeah.
Life
Not
lesson.
a bad one. Not a bad
Never forget that.
Of course, this is
one. How
Ricky's.
about you? You didn't.
No.
We didn't hear any from you.
Yeah. Give us.
Well, no, it's because the statutes of limitations haven't ran out yet. It's his first time.
Oh, that's right.
He doesn't know. Do you hear that?
This is laughing crickets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after the end of the first segment. Speaking of fools, I guess it's my turn, to kind of do that,
Spill it.
kind of be a fool.
Spill that tea.
Here. Okay. Laughing crickets. A little bit better? All right. Now, speaking of military, it's not quite military, but this first one here, we're talking about sailors. And these guys are on their job, 3 sailors, and they're discussing the cargo because they're used to transporting goods, and that's what they do for a living. And they make a really good living, doing this. But this time, when they show up to work, they've been tasked, Ricky, with taking 300 boxes of penis-shaped potatoes across the English Channel. And they think it's all a joke, just like Kel does right now. This has got to be a prank, right? There's 3 sailors, like I said. The first sailor, he's like, we're going to be the laughing stock of the whole yard. And then the second one says, yeah, we're never going to be able to live this down. The third guy, he's the brains. He says, let's go tell the captain that we've decided we ain't going to go, right? So they want to do this little strike, right? So they're just confident, headstrong. They head to the captain's quarters to voice their displeasure and inform him of their decision. Look at Ricky's face. He doesn't like this. This is mutiny. He's like, those guys are going to get court-martialed. But the captain hears him out. He's a cool guy. And he disagrees with them, and he informs them that they'll be going ahead with the journey. Okay? They're going ahead. The guys say, but we've got you outvoted 3-1. They all say this in unison. The captain, all of a sudden, he says, you fools! You've all forgotten one thing. What's that? They all exclaim. The captain stands tall and addresses them powerfully. He says, this isn't a democracy. It's a dictatorship. Oh, yeah! Oh,
Dictatorship.
what?
A triple
What?
pun. Oh,
That-
that's a good one.
That is good.
Dictatorship. I love it.
Dictatorship.
That's cute.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to save that
Okay.
one.
That's laughing crickets. Ricky didn't laugh. He's
Well,
so
but it's
serious.
absolutely true.
Right.
I mean,
he
when
remembers.
you're the captain of the ship, you're responsible, and you make the orders, and they follow them. You don't have to like it. It's just that's how it works.
That's what I'm saying.
That
You
was
like that
really
one?
cute.
This is all her idea. Okay. Now, this time we're going to healthcare, right? Remember, we're talking about fools today, right? We're talking about fools. So this patient, he's talking to his doctor in his annual checkup. The doc says, no, he says to the doc, You got to help me. I'm under a lot of stress. I keep losing my temper with people. Doc says, okay, well, tell me about your problem. Patient says, I just did, you fucking jackass.
Because he has no patience.
I like that one for some reason.
It's cute.
All right. We'll end it with this. Short and sweet today. What do a frozen beer, a burnt pizza, and a pregnant woman have in common?
Afternoon lunch.
No, good guess.
Say
What do
it
you
again.
think? What do a frozen beer, a burnt pizza, and a pregnant woman have in common? Some jackass forgot to take it out in time.
That was
That's
cute
it.
too.
That's it. 2 out of 3?
That was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what's that got to do with beer, though?
Frozen.
Well,
it's
yeah,
frozen.
It's frozen beer.
Forgot to take it out and thaw it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on. You got to pay attention, Ricky.
Apparently, I missed the frozen beer.
Yeah. All
Your
right.
brain blanked it because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I got the beer part. I just didn't get the frozen part.
Yeah. And I got that down in time. I allocated 3 to 5 minutes. We're a little bit under. So I like that. Okay. So the main matter, block 2. Let's go through this. Now, fools through time. Okay. Get back to the word fool.
Okay.
And the origination. Now, so through time, we think about, we mentioned court jester. I think about like village idiot, things like that. But we're going to migrate eventually to a modern fool, right? So let's talk about the court jester first. So historically, this is what's cool about this. It would be a scary job to have, especially if you were at a time when the Clintons were in charge, because the court jester could be licensed truth tellers who used humor to say what others couldn't.
I think that really did happen.
It
Yes.
did.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
of
saying.
course,
This
of
is
course.
part of
It's the same thing as the Hey
Right?
Luca.
So
Indian
that's
tradition.
it's like, it's like one of those moments where, say like one of the senators or somebody that's
No,
in the,
two people I can think of is Friedman and Epstein. Both of those guys were talking apologists for the Clinton administration.
yeah.
I mean, big time.
Yeah, but we got to stay away from politicians though.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Just thinking of people who actually made comments.
But that's your first go-to. We got to wean him. He needs what's the matter training, right? This is his first little get-go here. But no, let's think of something outside of politics because that's like too easy. That's like Greg Gutfeld,
Yeah.
saying a fat joke and then he shows a picture of the View.
Yeah,
Right? He
well,
does that all the time.
How about Barbara Streisand?
What about her?
Well, she was apologist for the Clinton administration.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
She and Brolin.
Wait, why do we keep going back here? We're talking about
Reiners?
we're talking about court jesters. You guys focus. Focus. Stop going back to politicians. I need a buzzer, Ricky. I need a buzzer for him. Okay, so the court.
What was the gal who had her Ellen DeGeneres? Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's in like England or Britain or something like that. She
bailed.
She got rid of her U.S. citizenship and she's regretting
Went to
it now.
the UK.
Now.
Yeah. Got run out basically for being such a bitch.
I lived there for 5 years. The English have a very dry sense of humor,
Oh yeah,
and they have a quirky sense of humor.
and bad teeth.
And bad cooking.
But court jesters, you guys. So historically, these jesters could be licensed truth tellers, right? So
Yes.
just imagine, like you're back in the time you got, you're in the court and stuff like that, and the king invited you to dinner, and you had this big old feast and everything. Now you're in the entertainment part. You got the court jester, and he says something about you, right? So you're there with your wife and stuff like that, and you're like, and then you say to your wife, "What a fucking dick."
F. Ross.
Yes, exactly, Rose. But that happened with the jesters.
Unfortunately, I keep going back to politicians.
Stop it!
But it reminds me of the correspondence dinner
Oh God,
in
yeah.
2011.
Yes.
when the president of the United States got up there and roasted Donald Trump as a civilian,
Right.
and and said, "By the way, you'll never be president where I am."
Yeah.
Remember he said that?
Yeah. That's called famous last words.
And the shadow government went, hold our beer.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now, an important nuance here, back to the court jesters, okay, is histories describe a couple of like jesters, right? And today we would look at them, they were categorized as like natural, innocent fools, right? Which would mean that they may not be all there. Maybe somebody with Down syndrome or something like
Okay.
that, could be looked at.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just
Early
a little different, a little peculiar. And then there were artificial fools, where these are professional performers. Okay, so these are the guys that Hollywood, They're artificial fools.
Comedians.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're actors. Comedians are actors, right? Whoa! I just saw the
Even some singers.
the Wolverine Deadpool combo. Oh my gosh, Ryan Reynolds, he is such a crack up. I've liked the guy since Van Wilder.
Oh yeah,
but he's a professional actor, and
Canadian comedian.
that's what I was getting ready to say is that he could like snap into it at any point. He could go on a comedy tour. Like he could go on a nationwide comedy tour. He's that guy, at any time. So they are actors, but sometimes the fool was the smartest person in the room pretending not to be.
Well, I would think Tom Hanks would meet that criteria.
Again, I don't, I've had my time with Tom Hanks where I liked him, especially in his early years, not so much nowadays.
Carrey.
Not so much nowadays. Jim Carrey, very super, super talented person. But to this point right here, sometimes, listen to this, you guys. Sometimes the fool is the smartest person in the room pretending not to be.
Playing dumb. That's called
Playing
faux
dumb.
naive.
Yes. And I kind of like, because
You know who's good at that?
to 2018, again, locally here, I used to love going and being a fly in the wall, right? I would like, hey, go to our show. So I would buy tickets. Sometimes I couldn't go and I would give them away. But in one night, I would buy, say, tickets to 3 different shows, sometimes 4, right? And I would go 45 minutes, then go 45 minutes. And I'm supporting
Comedy
local
shows.
artists.
Is that what you're talking about? Comedy shows?
No,
Just any
like
kind of show.
music, like musical shows and stuff like that. And so I'm supporting the scene, and I would kind of sit as a fly in the wall. Every once in a while, I would just go and then talk to somebody because my friends or associates were on stage.
Yeah.
And so I'd talk to somebody
In the audience?
knowing that they are friends with them, and they're just like, oh, yeah, G-Man came by. And so I may not have
Actually made contact
with them,
but they knew you were there.
eventually they knew that I was supporting.
You know who's perfect with that? The 2 co-hosts on the Gutfeld show.
Which ones?
His
I've never seen it. I know who he is, but I've never seen it.
Tyrus and girl.
Cat,
Yeah.
Cat Temp.
Yeah.
Both of them are very intelligent people,
Oh, yeah.
but they have a quirky sense of humor. But they'll just sit back and wait and let everybody else talk a foolish story and everything else, and then they'll give a word of wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. And so to that point, I like doing that. Not saying that I'm always the smartest person in the room, because I actually try to avoid that. But the part where I pretend not to be, I do that all the time. I do that all the time.
Yeah, you're good at that. You're very good at that.
And I enjoy it. So
Yeah.
so if you guys see me being foolish, don't be fooled.
No.
What did I do? Was that a double entendre again?
Yeah, sort
A
of.
little bit.
Gosh dang it. Okay.
You know who's really good at this is in the zeitgeist right now is Louis Theroux.
Who's that?
He did
Louis
he did
Theroux.
Inside the Manosphere.
Okay.
I just saw it.
Okay.
Phenomenal. You want to
Yeah.
talk about playing the fool to out the fools? Oh, brilliant job.
I
You
like
need
it.
to see it. If you haven't seen it, you need to.
And it's easier said than done.
Yes, it is.
You
It
know what I
absolutely
mean?
is. It's hard. If you are, especially if you're known as, the smart one or if you're known to usually have the answers when it's hard for you as a person sometimes. I know it's hard for me. And yeah, it's, you kind of have that little tap dance between, how do I see myself and how do I want to be seen?
That's exactly right. That's what we're talking about. So let's talk about modern fools. So we talked about, kind of historical fools. And I know that Kel's going to enjoy this, right? So I got these categorized. So 5 little bullet points that we'll talk about one at a time. Okay. So modern fools, I got them categorized as a romance fool,
Okay.
right? They ignore obvious red flags and they repeat the same mistake over and over and over
Disney
again,
delusion.
That's a definition of insanity, by the way.
Yep.
right? And there's a work fool, okay,
Yes.
who is busy but not effective.
Right.
And they're always blaming the
Somebody
boss
else.
And
or
stays
the
at a
system.
job that they say they hate
Yeah.
because they won't improve
Yeah.
out of it.
Okay, now there's a pleasure fool who trades long-term goals for short-term
Sure.
dopamine.
Yep.
And I can say that
Those
like,
people
there's-
that live in the
Yeah.
moment.
There's times where in my life, there's probably times where I can say, okay, I did that.
Oh,
but
It's appropriate.
because there's a stopgap
Right.
law.
You just can't live like that permanent, like all the time.
Yeah.
There are times where it's absolutely appropriate and you let go.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about all these. Let me get through these bullet points. Okay, so romance fool, work fool, pleasure fool. Now, the next one is a money fool. Ricky will enjoy this. Okay, because this is somebody that buys status, right? And they ignore stability.
With money they don't have to impress people they don't like.
Yeah, yeah. And so, again, that's a real thing. And last thing, social media fool, right? This is somebody that argues just for sport, right? Through selective outrage and oversharing things and stuff we don't even want to freaking know about.
Like Joe Rogan.
Is he oversharing?
I have interesting feelings about Joe
Well,
Rogan.
maybe he's talking about Joe argues just for sport.
Yeah.
He
That's exactly what I mean.
instigates.
He argues for argument's
Well,
sake.
he'll
He doesn't believe a word.
he'll drop the he plays devil's advocate.
That's why I said.
Now, he used to be independent, but they've gotten to him, and you can tell with some of his guests. You can tell, and a couple of them have now come out, gone out in public.
So I just wanted to cover those,
Yeah.
and let's go back now. So first, let's talk about the romance fool. So ignoring, and we've had shows about this. We've had episodes about relationships and things, but this is somebody that ignores obvious red flags, repeats the same mistake.
I've been that
now
person.
Ricky, you've been married how long?
5 years.
This
5
time.
years. Were you married before?
Yes.
How long were you married then?
Well, 32.
32. Okay, so you have commitment issues, obviously. No?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're
Now-
military,
now
married for
I'm-
32 years. Yeah.
I'm at 23
Can't depend on
years after 20 with my college sweetheart, right? And then Kel, you've had
Never.
you've had long-term
yeah,
relationships,
16
right?
years was my longest.
So we've talked about like red flags, and sometimes we see red flags because we want to believe in the promise of hope, right?
Potential.
And yeah, potential. Yes, that one of the notes that I have. And so let's just talk about that. Kind of like we're having a cup of coffee or something like that. So the first question is Ricky, why Nancy Kerrigan? Why do people ignore obvious red flags?
Because they don't want to admit failure, or they don't want to accept reality.
They want what they want. They don't want to accept reality.
That's
That's
it.
it.
So you agree
They
with that?
want what they want so bad
Yeah.
that they're willing.
But like
To delude
sometimes what they want and what they need can be confused.
Yeah, those
Yes.
are two separate issues.
Totally different
But
things.
they get them confused.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Right?
Oh, because they can't separate the two.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about work fools. Okay. Somebody that's busy. Now, corporate world, I work for a Fortune 100 company, like people that are busy but not effective, always blaming the boss
I
and
used
the
to have
system.
to deal with that a lot.
Now, for this question right here, of course, we're going to recognize and we'll have our anecdotal stories. This one guy or this girl or this boss or whatever, but that's too easy, right? So for the workful, people that are busy but not effective, always blaming the boss system, let's be solution oriented. What can people that are like that do about it? What are you guys doing?
People watching.
These guys are
That's-
making these
that's an
faces. I'm
easy
like,
thing
what's
here.
going on behind me? But how can people that are busy but not effective, always blaming the boss and the system, from a life coach standpoint, what should they do? Like, how do they recognize it first? I guess the first question.
Usually people will tell them.
Okay.
Or just walk away from it. Say, okay, enough, dude. You keep talking about this. What are you going to do?
And then
Yeah.
it just goes into Johari's window.
Yeah.
It's whether they're going to
Are
recognize
you going to
that
do
blind
something
spot.
or not? Are you going to realize that,
Right.
I think most of the time people do that is they feel trapped. They hate the job. They want to leave the job, but they don't think they can.
They feel trapped.
They feel trapped.
And
like
acceptance of
they don't want to
reality.
do the work to get the better job.
Oh, they don't even want to try.
No.
Yeah.
They just go, yeah, I'm not good enough for, they self-deprecate. Like,
Security is what it is.
I'm not good enough for that next level. And
So these are the type of people, like if they're supposed to be at on the clock at 7:00 a.m., they're there at 6:00, right? They're there at 6:00 and they work all day, maybe stay a little bit late. But then in the sales meeting, they're like, hey, your division isn't doing too good. Well, it's because the shipping department, they're always late, you know,
so
the
and so and
things.
such and such
Yeah,
is
right.
the problem.
Yeah. So instead of saying, okay, let's identify, you know, why this is happening, say even as a team or with your supervisor or whatever, taking personal responsibility, saying, hey, I'll do better managing my time or something like that. It's always about, you know, blaming, you know, somebody else. Now, money fools, right? Buying status, ignoring stability. These are fun stories because sometimes these people are buying you drinks, right? The people that are like, or what is it like? There's this thing right now, or at least a few years ago, where people that would be traveling, they like actually put it out there and just like, hey, I want to go here. Like, I need some sponsors.
Okay.
And I have to say, most of the time, not trying to be misogynistic, Kel,
Mhm.
but most of the time it was females.
Well,
That
I'm
were
sorry, I
saying
had to
that-
text my boss. What were you?
that were-
It's status hawks, though, is what they are. They're people who want to move up the ladder, but one, like we were talking about, don't want to do all the work, but they want to be able to buy.
Women
So
sleeping their way to the top? Sure.
Men do the same thing.
Well, of course.
not way
Way.
to the top, but I'm saying, let's say
They just sleep
there's
with the
somebody
boss's
like,
wife. and
like
move
I
up.
think in particular, okay, so this girl was in Hawaii, right? And she wanted to go to Burning Man.
Okay.
And she says, hey, you know, I need a sponsor to help pay for my travel expenses. And then she said, I can trade, you know, like some jewelry or something like that. So
Okay.
she was wanting to barter.
Art or something. Okay.
But I kind of read in, I'm like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's almost like I could imagine like somebody saying, hey, I know that you're, you know, need somebody just like, but, you know, I think you're pretty attractive. So instead of like the jewelry, can we trade like once we're there?
Well, what she
Burning
meant
Man?
was costume
Yeah,
jewelry.
stay.
She didn't
in
mean
my
real
Definite
jewelry.
value.
Yeah. So, but I guess it's just to me again. That's it's
all about what you
instability.
value
It's
in
but it's
exchange.
instability though. Like it was just I'm like
You mean
I
like
thought
why couldn't
about
she
that-
afford it herself?
I thought about that as just like, what if that was my daughter, right? That was my daughter, you know, that was saying, hey, instead of me going out and washing cars or getting an extra job or something like that so I could afford
because
to go on
it's
the vacation
easy to
that I
do.
want,
People are manipulable.
I want you to give me money, and then my daughter potentially may have to be warding off some sex-craved.
yeah, but she
person
has
that
to
thinks-
understand. I mean, you'd have to understand if you're going into an exchange like that
Transactional.
that it's transactional, and if you aren't explicit about what the exchange is, yeah, you're going to get yourself into that kind of situation.
That's
Or
what I'm
the-
trying to
or-
say.
or
is I think
limita-
it was a
what the
very
limitations
yeah,
naive-
what the
are.
boundaries are.
Yeah, I
sure.
think it was a very naive approach. You know, and I don't mean to digress. I think, but we're talking about fools, and so sometimes I think that, you know, if you're
Well, it's
wanting,
like hitchhiking. I mean, you know, that's just modern day hitchhiking.
I mean, I get that, but it's not the safest way.
Uh-uh.
I guess,
No.
you know, to go about your business.
Here's the easiest way to look at it.
Sometimes I think, again, you're a badass, but not all females are badasses.
No,
and they
definitely
have
not. A
this
lot of women.
false sense of security that just because you're inside this country or a city that has police and all these different things,
Right.
Sometimes you get in sketchy
Oh, the naivety is
situations
ridiculous.
because you're not thinking things through. You're
Or
a
haven't
fool.
been taught. Most
Right.
women like that just haven't been taught. They've had horrible examples. Their mothers were whores. Their mothers were irresponsible, and that's all they knew.
True.
You know,
True.
that's just lack of education.
Here's the thing that we all relate to. I don't care what city or town you go to. There's always the area that
Trouble.
you don't and no matter what happens, bad stuff happens there.
Right.
You may or may not get involved in it, but by
Right.
putting yourself in that location that always has
Well,
bad
not e-
issues, puts yourself at jeopardy.
Not even that. Sometimes people that live in those bad areas come to events, so you don't have to be in the bad area.
Oh no, they come to there. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, of course.
But it's more common, you know, that if you go to their area,
Yeah. Well, in Burning Man, of course, you know, in the last few years, you know, there's been some instances that
deaths.
that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. You know, kind of sketchy stuff. Okay. So last one on the bullet point. So social media fool. Let's talk about these people. Trolls, right? That's what they are. They just, when I comment on social media, I would say 95% of the time, I only comment on a friend's post.
Oh, okay.
I don't do.
Do you not scroll
Not really. I'll read comments. Some of that shit's hilarious.
Some of it is. Some of it. Post I'll
is.
read specifically for the comments.
Just the comments, but to comment on something
Most
I
of the
normally
time
have
it's
to know
just
people.
derogatory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Amanda.
sometimes I would imagine that they may even agree with the context of a post. Then
But be contrary just for the.
I can remember in the early days, I was kind of a dick, and sometimes when people would use the wrong type of there, spell it
Tell me it's
differently.
not.
That's not a dick. That's not being a dick at all. That's actually being very kind.
I knew you were going to say
Oh,
that.
yes, good
because
for you.
She is a
Good
grammar
boy.
Nazi.
Oh yes, I just gave up because people are so fucking stupid. They don't even care.
Oh my God. Now, what about selective outrage,
Yes. What about it?
where you're just inconsistent? What do you feel about that?
That's me. I'm
really?
selectively outraged.
You're selectively outraged?
It
But
depends.
that's not the definition of it,
Oh,
though.
what is it? What's the
I
definition?
think selective outrage is like you personally would pick and choose when to be okay with something and when to bitch about something.
Or
Right.
on one day you're okay, the
Yeah.
next day you're not.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
it's
I'm
like
pretty
a-
consistent.
It's like a fair weather
Oh no,
friend.
I'm
but
very
it's
consistent. Like
about critique.
what I'm on about, I'm on about. What I'm off with, I'm off with. Like I don't flip flop unless it's something that is pretty inconsequential.
Well, you
It
and I
could go
just
either
had,
way.
had this conversation offline earlier, Grady, and that was TDS. Perfect example of
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of somebody who, if somebody says this is black and you know it's black and you accept it's black, but if somebody else says it's black that you don't like, then it's
That's
white.
white. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Selective outrage. Now I get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a great illustration.
Now, why do we become fools? We as a species.
Oh,
Why
we're
do we
human.
become fools, right? Let's talk about first bullet point. I got 5 of them here. So we become fools because of ego protection. On that, Cal.
Yeah. No question. You know, our ego protects our subconscious. So our ego itself is a protection mechanism. So when it feels threatened, it's going to flare up.
Now, why do we become a fool based on insecurity?
Because we want to cover it up. We don't want to mask that insecurity and make it seem like we're not.
So let's see, an example of this would be jealousy.
No, I think it has more to do with self-esteem.
With insecurity,
It's more like being too big for your britches. Like thinking, like having to
Well,
overcompensate.
let me give you an example. Let's say that, of course, let's say there's a married couple or girlfriend, boyfriend type of thing. They're committed. And one person hears something, or maybe there's a text that they see on their phone or something like that, and they automatically assume that the person is cheating on them, okay, because they're insecure in the relationship. And then they blow up, okay, in public
Control
over
mechanism.
this. And so that would be an example of where you became a fool because of your own insecurity of something that wasn't even happening.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where I was getting to,
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
That's
Now-
a lack of self-esteem.
Yes. Yes. Having to use coercive control is insecurity.
Why do we become fools based on social approval?
It's wanting to belong to the group.
Yeah, tribalism.
Tribalism.
Yeah, we're a
Mhm.
tribal species. So outcast and abandonment is their core wounds. Those are core wounds.
What about becoming a fool because of impatience?
Oh God, I do that all the time. I embarrass myself sometimes. That's when I melt down. When I'll come into my ADHD meltdowns is when I lose patience.
Things aren't happening fast enough.
Yeah.
Okay, now why do we become fools when it's due to a lack of self-awareness?
Because you don't know what you don't know.
That's a big
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
to
You
me.
don't know what you don't know. So you're
Right.
just, you're going on thinking down this track because you know what you knew, and there's
Well,
more
the-
information that you don't have.
It's that blind spot.
Yeah.
It's Johari's window again.
Yep.
Not knowing what you know. Okay, lightning round. Okay, let's hear this. Okay, so I want you to reply, it's foolish or fair. Okay, so foolish or fair. Replying instantly when you're triggered with something.
Oh, foolish.
Ricky?
Agree.
Okay. Foolish or fair. Dating potential instead of reality.
Insanely foolish.
Insanely
Don't
foolish, right?
Do it.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too.
No.
And it happens
All the time. All the time. Because see, here's
women,
here's
you
the
like
thing.
to fix her.
Wait,
You're
here-
fixers.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yeah.
And here's why. Men get into relationships thinking the woman will stay the way she is at that point. Women get
Or
into
she loves me the way I am.
Women get
She
into
takes
relationships
me.
To change
thinking,
them.
not to change them, but thinking they will change,
Yeah.
thinking they'll evolve.
They got the potential.
Yeah,
That's an interesting analysis.
Yeah, we don't really go into it thinking I'm going to fix him or I'm going what I do is going to.
But I can change him to way
But I
he'll
can
be better.
influence
Influence,
his
yeah.
evolution
Got it.
by
Yeah,
with
and guys
what
are-
I do.
Guys are visual creatures. We look at women for their beauty, their intelligence, their social standing. There's a lot of
Not intelligence. Take that out of there. Men look at women for beauty.
well, of course, they
Pretty
do,
much the
but,
physicality.
well, when I-
Typically.
We've been
No,
conditioned
the first-
into liking
the-
intelligence. You've been raised into that.
But no, I kind of disagree with that because I've met a lot of beautiful women. You know, they would be DDG, drop dead gorgeous, or number 10s if you want to use a number. But when they open their mouth and they start talking to you, there's nothing between the ears. Okay.
Right, but that's because of who you are.
And so I can't, I
Right.
just walk away. I mean, there's no point in have a conversation. I have a conversation with the wall better.
Got
But you realize you're top 20%. Like
Yeah.
that's an 80-20
That's really
thing.
sad.
Yeah.
That's
No,
an
it's-
80-20 thing.
It's
and it's
true.
absolutely been scientifically proven.
Most of us men, I've said this for a long time, most of us are knuckle draggers. However,
I won't say most, but many actually want that now. Like that's the whole manosphere thing.
well,
is
no, so
male
check this. So most of us are knuckle draggers, but even the ones of us who might think that we've evolved past that, we like every once in a while
In the right
devolving
situation,
back into
no
being
question.
a knuckle dragger.
No question.
It's our most comfortable, just guys being guys. I'm just being serious. Okay, so now foolish or fair? Taking advice from broke people.
Foolish.
Never take advice from somebody whose life you wouldn't want to
I
live.
thought about this. Now here's my caveat. It depends on what advice I'm seeking from them. If it was
Don't take
financial
advice. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
But a dude that's broke,
They've seen some shit. That's a good point.
It
If it's scientific analysis, I would agree with that because what did the inventor of the light bulb say? What did Edison say?
Edison, yeah, 1,000
He said it
times.
took 1,000 times
2,000
to make the light bulb, but only one time to make it work.
Right.
So he had 1,000 failures to get one success.
He said,
right?
I successfully found 2,000 do it wrong.
to not do
Right.
it right. Yeah,
Exactly.
Or that
it's
it
all
didn't
part of
work.
the process.
That's right.
Okay, foolish or fair? Ignoring sleep and then wondering why your life feels so hard.
Oh, ridiculously foolish.
Yes, I agree.
You
Sleep is
got it. Okay, fair.
Foolish.
I'm going to caveat that one too.
Okay.
Mostly foolish, but sometimes you just have to be delusional enough, functionally delusional enough in your idea. Like, say you're trying to build a business, innovate something, be an entrepreneur. Sometimes you have to just shut that common sense, quote unquote, common sense advice off.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but that's
Rare.
a leap
Very
of,
rare.
leap of faith.
Yeah.
It's a leap of faith.
All right, foolish or fair? Last one. I'm not even going to say that. We already know. Making the same excuse for 5 years. That's foolish, right?
Oh, God, yes.
Well, that's it. Once again, the definition of insanity.
Insanity.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different
Doing
result.
it for 5 months is stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I-
I don't get that. And believe me, I've fallen into those patterns before. But to me, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I don't understand how people can stay like that.
It's almost like, I think that point was like applicable to probably relationships. So if you're in a
Yeah.
5-year
Yeah. Well,
relationship, and
business
That's
relationships
different.
too.
Or
Both
that
of
too.
those. Both
Yeah.
relationally, it's different because of the hooks, the other hooks
Yeah.
that relationships involve.
and it's not just a logical thing, but there's a lot of emotions, whether
Right.
it's a relationship or a business and things like that come to play too.
It's either emotional or financial.
Yeah.
It's
Or
one-
both.
Financial is
or
often
it could be
emotional.
both.
It could be
This
both.
is why when you're in a business, you shouldn't have your spouse as a partner.
Those are so hard.
because if your emotional issues come together with
into
your
the business, you're screwed.
You're not only losing the emotional connection, but you're losing the business as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always better to separate the two.
Yeah,
It
you
doesn't
have
matter what profession you're in, but
to really like in rare cases that can work. I've seen it work, but it takes two very special unicorns to do that, and lots of work.
you answered the question when you said you.
Yeah, it takes
Exactly.
a lot of work.
And when I think about
Conscious
that,
work.
I just think of two lawyers.
Right.
I mean, they could be both in sync on everything, but when just one issue comes up, and it just destroys the marriage, it destroys the business.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is like you could have like you could lose money one quarter, and then all of a sudden she doesn't want to make a sandwich anymore.
Oh no, she just changed the locks on the door.
Very scared, Ricky. Be very scared.
Now I am reevaluating my marriage.
All right, now, hey, so we're talking about fools today, right? So I wanted to get into again a little deviation, and I'm going to go into the foo zone, not fool. So the French chopped it down exactly. I want to talk about some foos. Okay, so before we do though, let's go ahead and give Ricky some kudos for coming in today. Thank you very much for being a
This was
special
so much
guest.
fun.
This was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
He got a little taste for the first time. You know?
I love this guy. Well,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier. I've known this guy for almost 10 years now, and he's
That's
been
right.
such a huge force in this radio station and keeping it alive. So grateful.
Like, yeah, I
Not to
I
mention
know
his
that.
military service.
I know that. We've had a lot of meetings this last year.
Yeah.
So
He's a
especially
great guy.
the last couple months.
Well, the one thing you can take to the bank with me is if I tell you I'm going to do something, I will do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if I can't, I will tell you why I couldn't do it, and it wasn't intentional. It's just because of reality.
And try to come up with the next solution.
If
or
I can
next
fix it,
pass
I
on.
will. Yeah.
Exactly. So again, Mr. Ricky Harrell, coming in. All right, get the fuck out of here. Ricky,
you
I will
so
I will
much.
talk to you
I had a
later.
great time, you guys. You guys are really good show.
All right. Ricky, I'll talk to you later, brother. All right, so the foo zone, we are going to again deviate from fool to foo, and we're not going to talk about the Foo Fighters, but we're going to talk about the Foo Fight. You know what? In my research, I found out that Foo Fighters, they were like military. That's where they came from,
that's where that
right?
came from.
Back
Yeah,
in, like in the 30s or something like that. That was pretty cool. So it's had a very long run, and as confrontation and endearment. So, but tonight we're not going to be fighting each other, but we're going to be fighting the foo in our own head.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to be fool fighters. So not a person, but this opponent is a version of us who refuses to learn.
Oh, geez.
I know. Okay. So from a street slang standpoint, again, I grew up in the Central Valley. I have a lot of Hispanic friends, and, I have some Cholo friends, some Vatos, but from the foo standpoint, I can remember like it was like this is mostly SoCal stuff, like Southern California. It seems like that region
The
right there.
blood Crip thing, almost like it started in
Not
that
the
community.
blood and Crips.
I mean, it wasn't-
No, it was all like it came from Hispanics. The Cholos, just
The
like what a
Barrios?
fool, and so at first it was a derogatory thing. It was a derogatory thing, right? And just like and then it evolved to where it was kind of
Almost
like
collegial,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
And that's how I knew it. My ex's little brother, Vance, my ex Nathan's, the one I was with for 16 years. Vance, they used to say that to each other. And Nathan, he couldn't quite pull it off. Vance he was a lot younger, so he hung with kids when that was coming out, even as a saying. And Nathan was a little bit past it, but I remember they'd be,
exactly, and I like it, But again, I know that again, certain situations,
origins,
it's the last thing that I'd be,
calling
saying
somebody.
is being stupid, being a fool, calling somebody else a fool. But so let's talk about some modern fool archetypes. Okay, so apologize for not being able to get totally in character here, but so there's a guy, that says actually this, actually that, so isn't that kind of a fool? That to me, it's like can you think of something more original than, I don't know, it's so Valley Girl-ish, oh my God.
Actually.
So anyway, just like a bad taste in my mouth. That like if somebody says that, I'm like, that's a fool.
Yeah.
Now another one, is, I have to say, I probably have said this before, but what about this one? Trust me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So,
Anybody that says trust me, you gotta look
trust
a
me,
little
bro.
harder.
That's right. Do your due diligence, right? Now, what about this? Somebody that's in a debate or an argument with you, right? Point of contention. And they're like, I did my research, but they really didn't.
Right.
They didn't do anything. They didn't even do a Google search. They're just riffing off of things that they've read off other people's posts and things like that, right? Like, again, like when I see stuff like this is stuff where I say, that's a fool right there. This one's not so bad, but it can mean something else, right? So if somebody says I'm just trying to be honest, it's almost like a precursor
To a
that
lie.
says, no, I'm going to be rude right now. Right now, yeah, I'm going to insult you, but I'm just giving you a little heads up right here. You know, or sometimes it's after they say something and just like, I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to help you out and stuff like that. And that's bullshit, you know, sometimes.
Yeah,
At least
sometimes. I mean,
sometimes.
I think that can be very effective in the right scenarios when done correctly with the right, with the right intention. But yeah, most of the time,
Think
when
about
people
that when
do
though
that,
before you use it, right?
Right. That's very strategic when you do that.
Now,
And
what
it's only
about,
to a certain type of
here's
person.
another full archetype, the victim CEO. Okay, where they're always a victim because every problem is someone else. There's no self-accountability at all.
Yeah, that's shades of covert narcissism.
Right.
That constant victim mode, always making other people be responsible. Weaponized incompetence falls into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just no good at that. Or
Yeah.
trying something and
Not my
fucking
skill
it up.
set.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Playing dumb. That all falls into that.
Now, what about another modern fool it's termed the hustle clown,
Okay.
right? And so no
That's-
sleep, no plan.
Right.
They're just hustling.
That's
Oh,
big.
here. I got my side gig over here, got my side gig over there.
Make
And,
that money. Get that bread up. Yeah.
you know, and I think sometimes
Very foolish.
I like my schedule now at this point in life because I'm more in control of it. But, there's a difference. Like, again, you have to be able to have measurable, like I spent so much time doing this and then this is what happened. Like, I know that, we've talked about taxes before. This week, especially since I'm waiting for a board decision, with one of the clients and stuff, I'm like, okay, this week I'm going to knock out the rest of my taxes. I am slaying it this week, just killing it. And there were times where I was like super, super bored and just like, I need a break. But, chopping it up.
Yeah.
But there has to be
And
something.
you're way ahead of time. You're in good shape.
Yeah.
I always file an
You're
extension.
saving
I'll
money.
deal with it in October.
Saving money instead of my accountant having to do it.
Sure.
QuickBooks.
Oh, it's so easy. I've been doing
So
my own
good.
taxes for
So good.
how old am I now? 57?
Do you do it
37 years.
into it?
I started with TurboTax. Now
yeah.
I just do Free Tax USA.
Ah, interesting. Well, good for you. Okay, now last one.
Hard. And people get so scared for no reason. Like, oh, I'm going to make one mistake. And the flags are very specific. And a human almost never sees your return.
Now the way that the programs are is they ask questions that, again, pretty much
They flag. They
as
check
long
the
as you're not
flags.
like, you don't even have to really be good at math. You just have to
Just
be
plug
able
the number in.
Plug the number in. Exactly. So last one, a modern full archetype. What do you think about serial daters of chaos?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a whole nother issue. There's actual issues there. That's not something somebody chooses.
Right.
That's
under the moniker, the flagship of
fool. That's
You're-
lack of self-awareness. It's just not recognizing patterns and not breaking them.
Very foolish. Very foolish. Okay, let's go into what's the verdict. Okay, so this is a thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, so thumbs up or thumbs down. Confidence is more important than competence.
Say that again?
Confidence is more important than competence.
No, I disagree with that.
Yeah, me too.
I disagree with that completely.
Even though sometimes, again, it's like and I know that we've talked about it before, and the fake it till you make it, you don't like that, but sometimes, like,
I get
let's
the
like think
premise
of it,
of fake it till you make it.
There's a little bit of
Sometimes. And what
leeway.
that means, here's the thing. I think that gets misinterpreted. Fake it till you make it doesn't mean fake what you're doing. it's inside. Fake the I can do this, the confidence.
The confidence. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
But I think people
sometimes-
misinterpret that as fake it till you make it as I'm just going to fake what I know how to do.
That's not a good
And that's
decision.
wrong.
Because
Not
what
good.
happens, like let's say the classic thing of lying on your resume.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the cockpit, again, it's a waste of time and you look like a fool.
And you could
Right?
endanger people's lives.
So confidence comes, and I may not have the skills yet, okay, but I know I can get them.
Yes.
And you have the confidence to step outside, create the time, set the time aside, saying, I'm going
Do
to
the work.
I'm going
Gonna
to
do
my
work.
skill set. Exactly.
Yes.
So in that vein, you don't have the competence.
Okay.
And so it's more important to have the confidence first.
Sure. But
right?
technically,
I hear what
will
you're
say-
saying, though.
I will say, though, that you have the framework for the competence.
Mm.
You have the confidence that your competence will kick in when you get the right
Exactly.
information.
Exactly.
So, competence still plays in
And I
there.
guess what this is saying here, it is a tricky little statement.
is.
It is. It's very nuanced, right? But if you don't have the confidence, then you probably, let's do it like this. As you are sitting, you are not competent in something that you would want to strive for. Sure. And that point, the most important is to have some confidence that you're going to gain the competence.
Yep.
That's where,
Yes,
down
nuanced.
like that. So very nuanced. Okay, next one. What's the verdict? So the loudest person is usually the least informed.
Guilty dog barks the loudest, we call that in Texas.
I like that.
The guilty dog barks the loudest. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right. What's the verdict?
And it's not 100. You can't always count it, but
It's
many
not,
times.
It's
yes.
not universal. Like these things are kind of like a preponderance.
Yeah, kind of.
So what's the verdict? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Being real is an excuse for being rude.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yep.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not. It just it depends on the tone, the delivery,
The tone, the relationship, situation.
Yeah, it depends on a lot of that. It's very nuanced.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good word.
What's the verdict? Most foolishness is just unhealed insecurity.
I would bet that's. I would agree with that.
Another
I think
preponderance,
yeah, in a lot
right?
of cases, I think that's very true.
Because sometimes even the most talented people, like say comedians and entertainers, fools, jesters, they entertain us and we love them because they're so talented, but they are hiding some brokenness inside. And they use it as a mask.
Sure.
Whether you want to talk about Robin Williams, loved him.
Even our own Dave Macarelli.
And even Jim Carrey, you mentioned him earlier,
yeah.
Some of those things. And so most foolishness is just unhealed insecurity. So and the point with this and the reason that I put that in there is that sometimes if we observe a fool, like we were talking about some fools earlier, and I don't know who Ricky was talking about, but I see it on TV, and then you learn the background of where, people come from and stuff like that. And then, so anyway, the categorization, kind of sometimes comes earned and sometimes it probably isn't earned, but it comes from kind of misunderstandings and I guess just things that we, would put out there at a person that we just see. And we're just looking at the surface of things. But what's the verdict on this? You can fix foolishness with feedback.
In many cases, that's correct. If the person is willing to receive, integrate.
Smart people do dumb things more than anyone.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. They
Thumbs
can.
down.
Yeah, I'm going to say thumbs down.
Occasionally, yeah.
But
What's the verdict on this? A little shame is useful.
that's a hard one.
I'm saying yes on that.
That's
one.
a hard one. I think it
says a
it
little
depends.
shame is useful.
It can be. I think
Like
it can.
some people can do things without shame.
Right.
That
And
they should be ashamed
That's socio.
Yeah, that they should be ashamed for. So I always look at things that, like, again, I've told the story, 12 years old, I think posters back then were like 50 cents.
Yeah.
The expensive ones were $1. And
Farrah
then Fawcett, it was $2. And I didn't have
Speaking
$2.
of shame.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not proud of that. It's something that happened and I was.
You learn from it.
Yes.
So it worked.
And so it's useful, and,
Absolutely.
you later on, you find out that, heck, man, those people that I took that from, well, actually, I didn't even get away with it. It was temporary.
I did. I shoplifted and got away with it for
Yeah.
a minute and then got busted.
Yeah.
Never did it again. And now I
Well,
hate thieves.
And that's the whole thing. And then as a parent, those are two things. Don't lie to me. Don't steal.
Don't lie, don't
from
steal,
me.
don't
if
hit
I
me.
find out you steal
Those
something.
are my 3 lines in
Yeah.
any relationship. You do not lie to me, you do not steal from me, and you do not hit me.
Yep. And so, all right, let's go into how to avoid being or becoming a fool. So stress and sleep loss, I should say. And we talked about this before, is that if you are stressed out and you're not sleeping and stuff like that, that's going to worsen your impulse control and your decision making.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not thinking clearly,
No,
right?
you can't.
All your
You
faculties
chemically,
are
you
not.
can't.
Yeah, you're not qualified, right? Now, something else that's grounded in how to avoid being or becoming a fool is, again, like research confirmation bias. We all have it. We all like to be right. Some people need to be right, and that's the disconnect.
At all costs.
At all costs, or at any cost.
We're being
right?
run by a bunch of that crap right
And
now.
That's the point, is that confirmation bias makes us defend bad positions.
Good point. That's a great point.
So,
And that's an ego thing.
Don't become a fool.
That's an ego thing.
Like learn things. Like when somebody is like, you can tell too when they have conviction. Not saying they're right,
Right.
but when somebody has conviction and they're contrary to what your point or your belief is, this one little thing, you could be right.
Absolutely. I'm always willing to explore.
Right away, you're disarming them is because you're giving them what they want, and they want to have this acknowledgement that they're right.
This is Chase Hughes stuff.
Yes, yeah, that guy's good.
He's great.
He's really good. So that's that. That what I just said right there. If you're listening to this, you need to write that down. Like learn that verbiage right there. If there's an argument that you're in, and if somebody is like emotionally, like
you
could
they're really
their
jammed
face,
in it.
you could tell if they start making their face
And not-
you could be right. I've been wrong before, and if you are right, I just learned something. Hey, let's go to In-N-Out.
And that's what you
Change
do.
it.
That's what you
Change
do with
it,
somebody
right?
like that. Like you're at the Thanksgiving table and you've
Right.
got somebody with TDS or whatever, and you just
Another exit
you give
ramp.
into it and you move on to something
Exactly.
different. Yeah, you just deflect.
All right, now how to avoid being or becoming a fool. Repetition locks in habits.
Oh,
Remember
no question.
that.
Yeah,
Good or bad.
neuroplasticity. Yep.
Good or bad. Repetition is going to be locking in your habits. So like always take a good little inventory. What are my habits? And again, I have a milk and cookies habit. Not every day, but it's there.
That's a compulsion.
Yeah, it's there. A compulsion. You're right.
That's
Yeah.
a compulsion.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
it comes
sometimes
up, you give into it or you don't,
after dinner,
and then it goes on.
Sometimes
A
it's like,
habit is something you do
all the time. Yeah.
all like unconsciously.
yeah.
It's by
No.
rote.
Good to
Yeah. You have a
milk and
compulsion. I have a coffee habit.
Yes, you do. You do. So the foolproof toolkit. Okay, so let's talk
Decaf,
about
though.
5 tools of what you can use to not be a fool. Okay, so number 1, the pause rule, right? We've talked about this before.
Oh gosh, yes. The gap between stimulus and response.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful place.
When I was young,
Yeah. It
I
didn't
went
exist.
off. I would just like, sometimes it would come to a point, it's just like, hey man, you know what? If you're so serious about this, like, let's just go out old Western style, And of course, I haven't offered that in a long, long time.
Sure.
But if you are heated, don't hit send. Don't
Right.
hit
Right. Write it
send.
out. Like get it out. Get it
Yeah.
on paper or get it in the text or whatever, but don't hit.
Or at
Save
least
it.
talk to another person that's not that person that you're mad at
Take a
right
couple
there. saying,
breaths.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, this is what happened. What can I do? What
A
what
lot
would
of
you do?
times I'll do that. I'll flame out. I'll save, I'll just let it sit in the text, and then go back and go, oh, Jesus Christ. Thank God I didn't send that. I didn't mean that.
Yeah. Yeah, in the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
It's very much a check myself kind of thing.
another tool is a 2-question filter. So the first question is, what am I missing? And I look at this as what part of
What
this
am I not seeing and not understanding,
mine.
not integrating?
right?
What's mine?
Like, what did I contribute to
yes.
this
How did we
situation
get
right here? Now, so what am I missing? And the second question of our filter is, what would change my mind? because it's like, what are you looking for out of this? What's going to change my mind? Is it going to be for this person to admit that they're wrong? Or is this person going to need to give me more information? Is it something I need to come up with? Like what's going to change my mind from feeling this way right now?
Yeah, and that's a Stephen Covey thing. Begin with the end in mind.
Another great guy.
Oh God, he was amazing.
Yeah.
I was a certified Covey coach.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved that whole methodology.
Flashing back to the late 80s,
yeah,
90s.
early 90s.
Okay, another tool is a cost test, right? The cost test is asking yourself, what's the price of me being wrong here?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I like that. I'm staking my flag.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I'm wrong,
what am I going to lose?
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Yeah, because my
What's it
job,
gonna
is it
cost
money, is it relationship? That's
excellent.
a huge one. Huge right there.
Yes, it is.
Okay, 5 tools on a foolproof toolkit is we've talked about patterns, having a pattern audit. Have I repeated this mistake before?
Mm-hmm.
Have I been here
And if you're not
before?
sure, ask ChatGPT. Ask your AI.
If you've been there before when you're 8.
It may not know the exact situation.
Uh-huh.
It'll pick that pattern up just from the way you talk.
Interesting.
It'll pull shit out that you had no idea just by the conversations you've had with it.
And inexpensive as compared to a therapist.
Well, it's a good place to start,
Yeah,
to at least get that initial feedback that you may not want from a human
right.
and go, okay, maybe I need to go in this direction, and then find the right human,
Yeah.
coach, counselor,
Yeah.
therapist.
Seek
Doctor,
it out, though.
whatever.
Seek it
but
out.
seek it out.
Yeah.
The stuff is
Come on, man.
Like, you're fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, you as a human being, whoever you are listening to this, you are freaking fascinating. Maybe not to the people around you. Maybe that's not the feedback you get.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you are.
Oh, yeah.
To probably a larger group of people than you realize.
I tell my wife that all the time. I say, honey, you're just burnt out on me.
She's amazing. Yeah, your wife is unbelievable.
So 5 tools to recap. You got the pause rule. If you're heated, don't hit send. 2-question filter. What am I missing? What would change my mind? The cost test. What's the price of me being wrong here? What's it going to cost me? The pattern audit. Have I repeated this mistake before? And then last one, Kel, number 5 is find and identify one truth friend. And this is defined as someone who's allowed to call you out.
Yes, I'm desperate for those people in my life. I tell everybody,
Yeah.
break me down. If I
Okay.
get on a tear on something and
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm not seeing
Yeah.
the 360,
Yeah.
stop me. I won't fight. I'll go, oh, you're right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Like, people think I'll fight back because I can get so,
Yeah.
passionate and adamant,
Right.
but I don't. I break easy.
Okay.
I break easy.
Okay, I'll
because I'm
remember
always
that.
looking for that. Like, am I wrong here?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I go off and I think I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And maybe I'm factually correct, but situationally inappropriate.
I got you.
And I always want to know that.
So
I don't
so
have the
what's
ego, the
a,
typical ego. I have
what
one.
what is a code word? What's a good code word that somebody could say to you that you could I'm hitting the, I'm breaking the glass and pushing the button right here.
Just like, hey, Cal, check yourself.
Check yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you doing? What are you talking about?
Okay.
Like, just any kind of pattern interrupt.
Right.
Just interrupt whatever I'm doing.
Right.
With something gentle. Don't be like, hey,
Yeah.
Just like, hey, Cal, can you slow down a minute? And
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Just
Hit the
any
pause
little,
button.
just,
Okay.
just anything like that will stop me.
I'm not saying it's happened before, but it could.
It could, and it does.
All right. Listener challenge. Okay, so anybody that's listening to this, we have a confident but clueless challenge for you. We want you for 7 days, and if you can't do it 7 days, you just do it once a week. No, but for 7 days, catch one confident but clueless moment in yourself and replace it with a question.
Question.
That's
Such good coaching language.
so catch just one. Hey, I'm being confident here, but I'm kind of clueless.
Yeah.
And then replace that with a question like,
What do I need to know?
what do
am
I need to do?
misunderstanding?
What do I need to know?
Who can I talk to?
Exactly. You got
Get
me.
resourceful.
You're feeling me.
Yep.
Me. Okay. So on today's show again, so we wanted to talk about fools. How are you feeling, Kel, about all of this?
This is such a great topic. It
Isn't
really
it?
is, because we all are. I mean, we're
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
Foolishness is inherent in humanity because we don't know what we don't know. and we have egos that want to just play this little, dress up game of I'm an expert, I'm confident, I can,
Yeah, exactly. We would like to be recognized. We want to fit in, and stuff like that. But why don't you kind of do a little summary, give us a little recap before we take off here.
Sure. Of course, me with my witchy woo stuff, the Fool tarot card is the very first one. It's actually number 0. And the interpretation of it is folly, mania, extravagance, intoxication, delirium, frenzy, derailment is a Rider-Waite term, derailment. But basically what the Fool card, when it gets pulled in a reading, is new beginnings. And it's an invitation to explore the infinite possibilities.
So you're saying that the Fool, which I've heard this before, excuse me, so it's a tarot card?
It's a tarot card. This is what it looks like. And it's the guy...
Yeah, I've seen that for sure.
Dressed up, about to step off a cliff, carrying a light bag.
And what's the little animal
behind? That's a
behind
little
him?
dog. It's his little companion.
Okay.
And it's basically, pack light, take a companion, and stay open. That's basically the crux of the Fool card. It's kind of, have that innocent wonderment of what's next.
And then do people misinterpret that?
Oh, yeah.
Like how? Like what is some of the common misinterpretations?
And misinterpretation is a loose term with tarot because
or other interpretations.
Interpretations.
Various,
Some people will take it literally, and you can. It depends on the reading. The reading will tell you what's going on, whether it's literal, whether it's metaphorical, whether it's whether if you read reversals and it's upside down, that means be cautious. Don't be a fool. Don't jump into the next thing. Maybe take a step back and look at it. Yeah. So but it's an interesting card that comes up. Like if it comes up in the middle of a reading about something else, it usually means just open your perspective. Be open to the unknown, the situation. Don't try to prejudge or condition what's going to happen. Stay open to it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, heck far. There we are again. Episode 42, Kel. This is awesome. Hey, and so today we went in on fools, not just to roast people, but we wanted to roast the patterns when confidence becomes clueless, when ego blocks learning, and when we repeat the same mistakes in romance, work, money, pleasure, and then we still act surprised by the results. And so we talked about fools through time, from the court jester to modern day, what up, fool? All that energy. Then we flipped it into something more useful. That's what we do. Real tools. We like to pause, think, catch ourselves before we become the headline in our own life. So, hey, shout out to our sponsor, World Matters Incorporated, the creator and producer of What's the Matter podcast, Big Bongo Productions. So, hey, Kel, as long as you're okay with it, next Wednesday we'll be back, same time, same location here in the Matterhorn studio for episode 43 of What's the Matter with Chance. We're going to be exploring the mystery of the unknown, yeah. And when we take risk in business, romance, and those moments in life when you just got to go for it, when is chance smart? And when is it just reckless? You know what we're going to do, Kel? We're going to laugh. We'll debate like we did today. It was great. And we'll leave you guys with some tools to take better risks. Until then, be vigilant, be kind, and always remember that what you say matters. This is the G-Man for Kel. See ya!